ऐसे 705 modifications to the opinion in the independent auditors report. Adverse qualified disclaimer of opinion. तीन तरह का ओपिनियन जाता है तुम्हारा. सबसे पहले तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि डिसीजन रिगार्डिंग विच टाइप ऑफ मॉडिफिकेशन ओपिनियन इज अप्रोप्रिएट डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द nature of the matter giving the rise to modification. Nature of the matter giving rise to modification, that whether the financial statement are materially misstatement. In case of auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, or may be material misstatement, auditor judgment about the pervasiveness of the matter, pervasiveness of the effect and possible effect of the matter on financial statement. Pervasiveness of the effect and possible effect of the matter. बोलता है objective of auditor is to express clearly an appropriate modified opinion on the financial statement. Auditors conclude that based on the audit evidence obtained, auditors conclude that based upon the audit evidence obtained, the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement, and auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and conclude that financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement. Circumstances when the modification to the opinion is required. Auditors shall modify the opinion in the auditor's report when auditors conclude that based on the audit evidence obtained and financial statement as a whole are not free from material misstatement. Yeah, auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to conclude that the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement. When determination of types of modification, क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन कब देगा? तो व्हेन ऑडिटर हैविंग, इस केस में तुमको मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ ओपिनियन देना होता है व्हेन ऑडिटर कंक्लूड दैट बेस्ड ऑन द ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन एंड द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एज ए होल आर फ्री फ्रॉम फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एज ए होल आर नॉट फ्री फ्रॉम मेटल मिस स्टेटमेंट, ऑन ऑडिटर इज अनेबल टू ऑब्टेन सफिशिएंट अप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस टू कंक्लूड दैट द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एज ए होल आर फ्री फ्रॉम मेटल मिस, तब मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन, तब तुमको मॉडिफिकेशन इन द ऑडिटर रिपोर्ट देना पड़ेगा. क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन कब जाएगा? When auditor having obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence and conclude that the misstatement individually or in aggregate are material but not pervasive to the financial statement. When auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence on which to base the opinion, but the auditors conclude that the possible effect on the financial statement of undetected misstatement could be material but not pervasive. बोलता है when auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence on which to base the opinion, but auditors conclude that the possible effect on the financial statement of undetected misstatement could be material but not pervasive. Qualified opinion का पैराग्राफ क्या मैं बोलता है? In our opinion and based of information and explanation given to us, except for the possible effect of the matter described in the basis for qualified opinion section of our report, except for the matter बोलता है in our opinion and based of information and explanation given to us, except for the matter described in the basis, except for the possible effect of the matter described in the basis for qualified opinion section of our report, financial statement give true and fair view in accordance. Financial statement give true and fair view in conformity with accounting policy generally accepted in India, state of affairs as on itna and profit and loss account for the year ended. बोलता है एडवर्स ओपिनियन कब देगा? तो एडवर्स ओपिनियन व्हेन ऑडिटर शैल एक्सप्रेस एडवर्स ओपिनियन व्हेन ऑडिटर हैविंग सफिशिएंट अप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस एंड कंक्लूड दैट द मिस स्टेटमेंट इंडिविजुअली और इन एग्रीगेट आर बोथ मटेरियल भी है और परवेसिव भी है, तो वो मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन दे देगा. बोलता है इन आवर ओपिनियन बेस्ड ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन गिवन टू अस एक्सेप्ट, तो यहाँ पे एक्सेप्ट नहीं, यहाँ बिकॉज ऑफ द ओमिशन ऑफ मैटर डिस्क्राइब इन द बेसिस फॉर एडवर्स ओपिनियन सेक्शन ऑफ आवर रिपोर्ट. द accompanying financial statement do not present fairly the financial position of the entity as on इतना 31 मार्च 2024. बोलता है फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस फॉर द एंड कैश फ्लो फॉर द ईयर एंडेड एज इन अकॉर्डेंस विद अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड इशूड बाय ICI. बोलता है डिस्क्लेमर ओपिनियन में क्या जाता है? वी आर इंगेज टू ऑडिट द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट ऑफ ABC Limited which comprises a balance sheet, profit and loss account, cash statement of changes in equity, cash flow, other requirements. We don't express, यहाँ पे we don't express opinion accompanying financial statement of the entity because of the significance of matter described in the basis for disclaimer of opinion section of our report. We have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for audit opinion on these matters, on these financial statement. परवेसिवनेस किसको बोलता है? परवेसिवनेस के लिए तीन चीज़ को कंफर्म होता है. परवेसिवनेस इज यूज्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ मिस स्टेटमेंट to describe the effect of possible misstatement, on the financial statement बोलता है pervasiveness is the term used in concept of misstatement to describe the effect of financial statement misstatement या possible effect on the financial statement of misstatement that are unpredicted या due to inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence बोलता है pervasiveness effect on the financial statement are those in the auditor judgment are not confined to the specific element, account or item of financial statement. If so confined, represent or could represent the substantial portions in relation to disclosure fundamental to user understanding of financial statement in relation to disclosure fundamental to user understanding of financial statement. If so confined, represent or could represent the substantial portions. If not confined, a specific element, account or item of financial statement. Consequences of inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence due to management impose the limitations after the auditor has accepted the engagement. If after accepting the engagement, auditor become aware that management has imposed the limitation, the scope of auditor consider the likely to result in the need to express more qualified opinion or disclaimer of opinion on the financial statement. Auditor request the management to remove the limitations. If management refuses to remove the limitations, auditor shall communicate the matter to TCWG unless required by TCWG. Unless all of TCWG are involved in managing the entity, बोलता determine whether it is possible to perform alternative audit procedure to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. If auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, auditor shall determine the implications as follows. If auditor concludes that possible effect on the financial statement of undetected misstatement, if any could be both or material, if any could be material but not pervasive, auditor shall qualify the opinion. बोलता है if auditors conclude the possible effect on the financial statement of undetected misstatement could be material and pervasive, auditor shall material and pervasive, so that qualification of opinion would not be adequate to communicate the gravity of situation. Auditor shall withdraw from engagement where possible under the applicable law and regulation and withdraw from audit. If withdraw from audit before issuing the audit report is not practicable, if withdrawal from audit before issuing the audit report is not permissible या possible, disclaim the opinion on the financial statement. When auditors decide to withdraw before withdrawing, when auditor decide to withdraw before withdrawing, auditor shall communicate with TCWG matter regarding the misstatement identified during the audit that would have given the rise to modification in the opinion. If auditor proposes to resign, if within 45 days from the end of the quarter of the period covered under the appointment, then auditor shall before such resignation issue the audit report and limited report on such quarter. बोलता है 45 दिन के अंदर किया तो उस क्वार्टर का तुमको देना पड़ेगा. आफ्टर 45 दिन किया, आफ्टर 55 days from the end of the quarter of the period covered under the appointment, then we shall before such resignation issue the LR report for the such quarter and as well as next quarter. If auditor withdraw, if limited review report has been issued for all the 3 quarters, then auditor shall issue the audit report for full year before resigning from the engagement.